Hey everyone, we are here with Chef to Chef Live again, sponsored by Club Resort Chefs Association. And we are joined by three of my good friends here in Chicago, club chefs. First is Matt Hinkle from Exmoor Country Club on the north side. Scott Webster, Sunset Ridge. He's giving the sign language right now.
Sorry.
Southard, Lakeshore Country Club. Who basically has a view of Lake Michigan out his office probably right now, huh?
Pretty close.
Yeah. I want to thank everybody for being here. It's a beautiful Saturday here in Chicago. It's about 75 degrees and it's sunny and our courses are full. And thanks for joining me here. So I'd like to start out with a round of questions talking about the menu right now. We are obviously starting to open up clubhouses here in Chicago. We are 50% outside, so everybody is maximizing their patios here. I'd like to just start by asking a question about the limited menus that you're doing right now and how you feel about what you can actually produce right now for the outside patio and what you feel so good about executing while we're doing these limited menus and outdoor seating. Matt Hinkle?
So our patio is typically our fine dining area during the summer. And we opened with that style of menu, our typical summer menu. But we also included a few casual items, and we found that the vast majority of people were getting food to go and ordering the more casual items, and we received more feedback, especially from our board, that that's what people were looking for at this point in time. Not so much that full dining experience, but more or less just somewhere they could go, get a quick bite to eat, not spend a lot of time. But so now our menu has transitioned into, I would say, 60% more casual food and maybe 40% fine dining. So
you're not really hitting your price point quite yet, huh? You're not really hitting your price point? Yeah.
I don't think this summer. I think our average check will definitely be down.
Yeah.
From what it typically is.
Scott, what are you finding?
When we opened for takeout only, I decided to, instead of really limiting the menu too much, I kept it about 70% the size. And it was still kind of the same menu. I mean, I added a few casual things, but I think members, from what I heard, they were really happy to be able to get, their filet and their New York strip, as well as their burger and their chicken wings. And so it's been a little bit of everything. And then once the patio opened, I just kind of ran with my normal summer menu, a little bit smaller than normal, but I have about 80% of my crew still working. But yeah, people have been happy just to kind of have the norms. I haven't got a lot. We did put back bar food for the golfers, so their sliders and their nachos and that kind of stuff. No, then the to-go menu is slightly different than the for here menu, just because there are some things that don't travel well. So the to-go menu is just a little bit different. But no, we've still been rocking pretty well. We fill in the patio every night, people or so. 50 to 80 people to go, and then I've been doing Sunday specials, like family style specials, which have been popular. We're doing pizza night this week. So
Matt Southard, you're fairly new to your club right now, so you're going through this a little bit for the first time here.
Ooh, yeah.
Were you inspired to do a smaller menu just to get off the ground and be successful with it?
Well, the good news is with our renovation happening here in the main kitchen, we were forced to go down to the west side to do dinner, so it's a smaller outlet to begin with. So right now it's like anywhere between 5 and 6 entrees, 3 starters, and like 3 salads, maybe 2 or 3 desserts. So it's just a smaller kitchen down there, so we can't do as much as we normally would do here in the main kitchen here until it's done in about 2 months. So that transition was a little bit easy because there was no expectation of the amounts that we had down there. I probably pushed the envelope on what we're doing down there a little bit more, just because it's our only venue open, and I didn't want it to be boring for them. So we've been probably averaging anywhere between 100 and 115 for outside on the west side. That's just in that little patio out there. Now they're opened up a lot of places on the grass area. So now we're feeding more people. So the grass is definitely open. So we have some more people coming in to work here shortly. Other than that, I would say we're not really doing too many specials, but we are updating our menu pretty much weekly to streamline it that way. So we're not keep doing like, hey, we're going to do a special if we didn't sell a lot. We're kind of just playing with our menu each week and just introducing some different items, and whatever's popular, we'll keep it. But other than that, it's been a little rough because we're transferring a lot of dinner stuff across the street.
Yeah.
So, by 2:30, if we don't start that process of going over there, we will not be ready by 5:30. Because no matter how much you're prepared, by the time you go over there, there's always another 2 trips you got to bring back to the main kitchen to grab something or utensil or anything like that. So it definitely takes a lot of organization to do a proper dinner down there. Before in the past, they were doing more casual fare, just burgers, wings. It was just something for a midday golfer. And now we're doing a full-on dinner. So, but it's better than nothing. And but overall, it's been pretty successful so far.
So you guys are like ants with speed racks going through the parking lot, just like a parade of.
Yeah, we have about 4 extended club cars here for bringing food over, which is kind of nice. But still, it's definitely a process. The road gets busy over here as well, so there's definitely a lot of traffic. Got to be very careful when you're crossing the street. But it's just one of those things where you really have to think about what you're doing over there and the time, because it really creeps up on you. And if we're doing employee meal, for example, 4:30, we've been having tables by 5:15, so they're taking their break till 5 o'clock, and then we're still trying to get over it. So that's why the process has to start by 2:30. They start heading to the west side. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. So everybody's fairly limited on staff right now. It sounds like, and it's a byproduct of simple menu, and we've all been scaled down. Talk to me about another thing on the menu about what you've been limited with the commodities lately. Me and Matt were talking about steaks. We're talking about prime meat. Are there things you're staying away from right now just because of the volatility of the market on your menu? I start with you, Matt Southard.
I would say in some senses there are. We pretty much had written this year off to the food costs. It is what it is. Okay, let's just be honest. Between that and doing your pantry, that's only 15 to 20% markup. I think our cost probably was like 70-some% last month. Now, granted, we weren't open from very much a la carte. But other than that, a lot of the pork products you guys are talking about, besides a little bit of ribs and bacon here, obviously being a Jewish club, we don't go through much chops, things like that. So, but when it comes down to any of the meats, I'll still purchase whatever we can and get it. We just charge accordingly. Sometimes it's not exactly the markup that we would do in the past, but we don't want to tell them we can't have a filet, strip steak, anything like that, or any other cut. So we're just doing it, and unfortunately, we're kind of biting the bullet when it comes to cost. Which is nice because they're aware of that. Everyone's aware, the general managers on the same page, that digital is basically a gimme year, and whatever costs are going to be high, they're going to be high.
I've been hearing that a lot lately. I've been hearing about clubs on the East Coast having a hard time getting meat, clubs in Texas getting meat, and I think they have the same approach to it. They have the same approach about taking the hit on it instead of marking it up accordingly to your normal. It might be a 40% food cost, and they're just and I want to talk about this in a minute, the budget, but they're just taking a hit on it rather than passing on to the members. Matt Hinkle, is that the case with you as well, as far as being afraid to price it accordingly on your menu right now?
Well, the menu items are about the same as they would be anyway, but our grocery program on the weekend, which after next weekend, Father's Day, we're going to transition to only once per month, just because it's, since the weather's nice, we've kind of noticed a bit of a decline in it, and it's just we don't have enough time to do everything when we're this busy, especially on the weekends. But the grocery program, it depends on the item, but it's only like a 15-20% markup. So our food cost is technically pretty high, but we're really not out to make money on our grocery program. But like I said, our a la carte menu is about the same as it was before. However, it's more casual, so the lower checks can be. I mean,
So
that
Matt,
never.
question: Were you changing? So like burgers, for example, have you kept your burger price the same from last year?
No, I put it up to like $13.
Yeah. See, I had a little issue with that. We were trying to change it a little bit, but that was one thing here. They're like perception. They're like, just leave it. They didn't want to thinking like, hey, why are we bumping up a couple bucks? They didn't want to get into the drama of the cost. So that's why they decided to say, keep the price that it normally would be, which is I think $14, which I was in change it to like 15 or whatever. But
Right. Yeah, and most of them have been like $1 here, $1 there, but nothing.
Scott, let's get into that then. I was going to touch base about that, about the budget. Everybody's budget's just going to be blown out of the water this year with obviously paper goods, packaging products. Labor's not too bad because we've been able to save on labor to budget, but our banquets aren't there, so that might be a wash. But our food costs, as Matt pointed out, let's just take a hit on it. Has there been conversation at the board or upper management level about damage control on your food cost and expenses, Scott?
To be honest, not really. I haven't heard anything from the board or my general manager, but last month we did a 43% food cost. So I've been managing it I've been buying a lot of produce, kind of back to the volatility of the market. Like a lot of that stuff just hasn't been available. A lot of those really more expensive seasonal items that I'd be bringing in right now, I'm not. We are taking a hit on the meat prices a little bit. I bumped a couple things up, like $1 or $2, but not much. But then we have a pretty good markup on a lot of the casual food. So I mean, we actually broke the record for a la carte covers in April, only doing takeout. We did 270 people on a night. So
Wow.
We've actually maintained pretty good business without the banquets. So there hasn't been too much of a concern. I think if it did come back high, then we'd probably have that talk. But so far, we've been doing a pretty good job keeping it somewhat in line.
Yeah, as we know, it's a lot about member satisfaction. When the members are happy, they can kind of overlook a lot of that. Matt Southard, obviously, to Scott's point, you're probably not buying morel mushrooms right now, like high-end seasonal stuff. And talk to me about your budgetary concerns. You actually being new at the job.
yeah, I probably restrained myself more than I usually do.
Yeah.
So it has been there. I mean, I almost bought some Oregon morels the other day, and then I had to come to Jesus, like maybe I shouldn't do this. But I still stick to like my higher end vinegars and certain things like that. But at the west side, it's one of those things where it kind of doesn't even make sense to have some of those things kind of over there. If that makes sense, if you will, it's just that kind of atmosphere. So it kind of just doesn't fit the venue. I'll put things in there seasonal, some different vegetables, but definitely nothing like I'm accustomed to getting in here. I think the probably most expensive thing is maybe fava beans at times, things like that. But Meyer lemon, nothing crazy.
Matt, any discussions about budget and adjusting, or at least being preparing the board for what's to come in fiscal end?
Is that for me?
No, I'm sorry, Matt Hinkle.
Okay.
Yeah, back in May, like beginning of May, we spent quite a bit of time, coming up with ways to save money. And now I would say about 50-60% of that was just kind of pushed aside just because it's been, we've increased services to the membership, especially with the warmer weather. So yes, we did it. Is it going to be accurate?
Yeah, we'll see. Scott, you want to talk to me about 4th of July plans? What is your contingency? Where are you looking at?
Unfortunately, they just decided to cancel everything. So we normally do about 1,300 people. Fireworks, they set up, stuff for the kids, bouncy houses. It's our biggest event of the year for numbers. And they just decided there was really no way to pull off that. So as of right now, no, the event's canceled. I haven't determined yet if I might offer like some to-go packages or something. We did that for Memorial Day with limited success, but Memorial Day is not a big one here. Easter, we did a big, go type of thing, package meals to go. So we'll see. I've actually even talked to my GM or team members about it, but no, the big events, all the big golf events, those have all been canceled all summer. They just didn't see a way that they could do it and still maintain any kind of tradition.
Is that the case with Matt Hinkle and Matt Southard? 4th of July is off the table.
For us, again, it's a big one, but we are doing lunch only. So that's the only thing we're going to do. We're basically doing out on the lawn, but everything will be stationed. So the guys working on the grills, and we're doing everything will be wrapped and handed to them. I'm actually looking at the menu right now. Cold soup, a couple little nicer chopped salads out there. Anything that we can put in a vessel and hand it to them, that's what they're getting for lunch. And this year, what we're doing is actually it's getting to be complimentary. So we're going to spend anywhere between, I don't know, $5,000 to $6,000. But that's what they want to do this year because 4th of July is one of their bigger events and they can't have it. So we're doing like a little express station lunch for them on the grass. But that's only going to run for 2 hours, and we're not doing our regular lunch menu. So everyone is welcome to come to the club that day, and we encourage some families to come, but we're trying to keep it spaced out. But it's primarily for the golfers and anybody that's here just doing activities. Everyone is welcome to the buffet.
Matt Hinkle just grabbed his heart and he said complimentary. He went, what?
Yeah, it's very true. I wanted to at least charge $5 a person just to cover like some like labor standpoint, but
yeah,
closing down our lunch that day, and this is all we're doing, and it's very streamlined. Again, our general manager just wants to keep things on a good note with them for the amount of money they were spending. So
I think that's a great call. Yeah.
I see this point. I get it. Like I said, we don't have a lot to offer them this summer, so we're trying to make things right where we can.
It's kind of a write-off year as a whole, I think, for everybody. Matt, 4th of July, no go? Any contingency plans? Or?
Typically 4th of July for us is about 400 people because they can watch the Highland Park fireworks from our patio terrace. Highland Park has canceled the fireworks this year, so we expect to do 150, maybe 175. And we're going to work it the same way we're doing Father's Day, where we're going to do family-style starters and salads on the table. They can choose an entree from, I think I have 4 or 5 different entrees they can choose from, and then family-style desserts.
Okay, pretty streamlined.
But we're doing reservations and everything else and times and stuff like that. So
but yours is a dinner though, right?
What'd you say?
Yours is a dinner?
Yes, dinner.
So it's pick up, ready to go? Kind of a box?
No, that'll be the day before. This is all sit-down dinners.
Okay. We are all fairly connected. We all have a way of getting in touch with each other via email, a text chain or something with a dozen people asking about where do you get your produce from, where do you get your bottled water from, as an example. How important is that for us to all stay connected here in Chicago to talk to each other and bounce ideas off of each other, Matt Hinkle?
Oh, it's huge. We talk to each other all the time. Anytime we have a question about where we get certain things or how much we're paying for something, 5, 6, chefs or peers are available, with just one click of your phone. So it makes a big difference. It really does.
Scott, you want to answer that?
Yeah, no, I agree with Matt totally. Whether it's about prices or ideas or just, keeping up with each other, especially right now, just, how everybody's doing. It's a great community we have here. I was happy to become part of it a number of years ago. So, no, it's a very valuable tool. I think we're in a unique environment for that as well, having so many chefs and high-end clubs in such a small area is, unique to the country.
Yeah, Matt Southard, you were past president of the Club Chefs, along with Matt Hinkle. It's pretty invaluable, isn't it, to reach out to somebody when it could be a soft serve machine. I just reached out, months ago about an espresso machine, and that somebody had a question about. So it's nice to reach out to people and talk to them about that. You agree, Matt Southard?
I completely agree. I think it's great networking. It also keeps a leg up on certain things that we're trying to purchase, right? There's times where you make that call and you want to see what somebody else is doing or what's going on or what they're purchasing, what their price point is. But I think it's more important for us to stay ahead of the curve, because what happens, a lot of our members talk to each other, right? Think about it. There's always members like they know someone from this club or that club, so they're talking about what's going on. So by us communicating, staying ahead of that game kind of helps things out. Don't you guys think?
Yeah.
Think about it. Every time you go to a club, you meet a club member like, oh, I've been at this club. I think someone the other day said they were at Sunset Ridge you know what I mean? So the more we stay ahead of it and communicate, I think the better off we are. And I think we do.
You know what they do at that's how they start off. You know what they do at Sunset Ridge?
Think about it. Yes. So the more information we have going into those conversations, the more successful we are.
Yeah, 100%. So a last question is, and I'm phrasing this to a lot of chefs I'm talking to. Matt Southard, you're a little new at the club. You might not be quite in tune with this, but is there something you saw on the menu when you first got there that you said, what is this? And somebody looked at you and said, you can't take that off. Have you run into that? And what is that product? We always like to hear.
Okay, right now they have a hot dog they use, which is a Big City Reds hot dog that they were very adamant of that brand. That brand must stay here. Is it good? It's good. Is it great? I don't see that, but that's one item. And I would say the other thing is kind of weird is others are doing this. Their Cobb salad here. The Cobb has roasted turkey and poached shrimp. And it's a different style with different cheese. And the way they do it is completely different than any Cobb I've ever seen before. But that's the way they wanted their Cobb here, and that's pretty much staying. So the combination of the Cobb is completely different than anything I've ever seen. It's
staying, though.
It is staying.
Scott, what's staying on your menu? What's keeping you employed there by not taking it off?
Well, I actually did just modify the Cobb, and they're happier with it now. So that's one win for me. I would say, this is a big one for any Midwestern club, but the whitefish. I didn't ever try taking it off the menu. I know better than that, but I tried buying fillets and cutting nice thicker pieces because, when you buy a jumbo fillet, it's cheaper than tails, but they had to have their tails. They like that plate coverage. Give them a 10-ounce piece that's, 5 by 2 inches high, they're going to complain about it, but you get the full tail, they're happy with it. So silly little thing like that.
That's their fillet, literally the tail? A 10-ounce fillet tail?
Whitefish tails.
Oh, the tail.
But
okay.
$3 more a pound roughly, but the same portion size. But they just like the way it looks on the plate, and less bones potentially, I guess, is the answer I got from. But yeah, that couldn't change. But everything else, I've honestly just kind of slowly been tweaking here and there. The soups I didn't change because they've been being made by the same guy for 30 years. So I was like, you know what? You like those soups? Have at it.
Yeah, I'm sure Matt Southard has whitefish on his menu, being the Jewish club that he is. Yes.
And you would think there would be, but it is not.
Wow.
Yeah, no whitefish. I couldn't believe it either. But they're way bigger fans of salmon. Salmon dish has to be on the menu.
Matt Hinkle, what's on your menu that you either inherited or put on, and it's there to stay?
It has to be the barbecue ranch chicken salad. I tried to take it off the menu once, and I got a request from the board to put it back on, so it went back on. This salad we did the calculation on the calories. It is a little bit under 1,400 calories.
Did you guys ever, real quick, let me jump to that. Did you guys ever have a serious push or threat to put calories on the menu or fat grams or anything like that?
Occasionally. I've always kind of resisted it.
Yeah.
Nobody really wants to know that information.
Yeah. So that's a no from everybody?
At my last job at Skokie, we actually had a member that requested us to put 2 items on the menu that were health conscious and wanted the calories, the protein, the fat. And we did it, but my argument was always, I'm not a dietitian or a nutritionist. It's kind of a guesstimation on what I can find either in a book or Googling, calorie counts or fat counts but it's not an exact science, unless you actually made that dish, sent it in and got it evaluated, you're not going to know 100%. So that was kind of a fad. We also had Skinny Girl wine advertised on the front page for a little while along with that. So, it was a health push, but I'm always health conscious in my cooking anyways, especially at a club. We have members here 3, 4, 5 nights a week. I'm not trying to kill them. So, the butter and the fat and the cream is around if they want it, but, I try and use it sparingly.
I think we're all pretty conscious of that.
Yeah.
Chefs, thanks very much for joining me today. I appreciate you taking time on your Saturday afternoon. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. Take